What up, team? Welcome back. Welcome back to Herbs class for 5 more minutes of math. It always feels like it's been forever. It's probably only been like 5 minutes, but I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you. Welcome back. Let's get right to it, man. As you can see, today's lesson is on absolute value, right? So you probably remember absolute value from elementary school or middle school as something like this, right? Where you would be given a number and that number would be surrounded by this notation right here, these straight bars. Now those straight bars are not parentheses, those straight bars are absolute value symbols. Yeah, and so it's probably helpful to think about absolute value to define it. Let's get a definition. The definition I like to use sounds like this. Exactly right, the distance from zero on a number line. So why don't we just get a number line up here? Yeah. So as you can see on our number line, -3 is right here. How far from 0 is -3? Yeah, 3 spaces. So the absolute value of -3, or how far from 0 is -3, is 3. Now, that's not the only number that has an absolute value of 3. What about +3? Yeah, well, that seems kind of silly, right? Doesn't it? How far from 0 is 3? Well, also 3 spaces. Yeah. So the moral of this story is there are actually 2 numbers that have an absolute value of 3. And the reason I say that is because we're moving from absolute value to absolute value equations. Absolute value equations. We in algebra now, right? So we incorporate a couple of letters. We like to call them variables. Oh yeah. Now, here's an equation, and this equation has our absolute value bars. So this is an absolute value equation. And so remember what we're after here. Like, we're after a solution. And remember, a solution, the way we talk about it, is a value that's going to make this true. So there's a number I can replace x with that will make this true. And if I remember what we talked about for absolute values, they're 2. Yeah. So when we come to absolute value equations, remember this. Yes, that there are usually 2 solutions. Now, we're going to talk about why I said usually in a minute. But for right now, let's talk about the steps to solving absolute value equations. Step 1. Yeah. Isolate the absolute value. So what that means is, forgive my handwriting, that says get the bars alone. So what that means is, here it's already done. Notice there's no numbers before my bars, there are no numbers after my bars, nothing underneath. This set of absolute value bars are alone. The only thing that's left is this x on the inside. So step 1 in this case is already done for us. So let's go to step 2. Bang, step 2. Now here's where we take care of those 2 solutions. Remember now, there are 2 different numbers I can put in here to get an absolute value of 3. So to account for that, I always make a little visual reminder. I draw an arrow off of each bar, so I know I need 2 equations. The first one, no changes. Exactly the same equation, no bars. Good. Now this was a pretty basic example, so I didn't have to do any solving here. I will later. But my first solution, x equals 3. If I put a 3 in here, is the absolute value of 3 equal to 3? Yeah, okay, so now the second equation is going to start the same. Both of my equations are going to start exactly the same. Yeah, x equals, but in my second equation, I'm going to change every sign on the right-hand side, just like this. Yes, I changed that +3, it was the only thing over there to change the sign on, to -3. Now, of course, we can always check our solutions. Let's check our solutions here. So, if I plug a 3 in here, is the absolute value of 3 equal to 3? Yeah. If I plug -3 in, is the absolute value of -3 equal to 3? Yeah. 2 solutions. So now, usually we'll have more to solve after here. So once we break it into 2 equations, sometimes, yes, we'll have to solve both equations. Okay, now this lesson isn't over because there's one special case we need to talk about before it's all said and done. Whoa. We learned this in elementary school. The absolute value of a number is always positive. Is there any number I can put in here where the absolute value of it is -3? Nope. You remember what they call that here in this class? No solution. Yup, no solution. Listen, this requires a little bit of practice. I'm going to see you in the practice video right after this one. Okay, I'll see you over there. Good to see you.